Riftbound is quickly becoming my favorite TCG of all time, and as a lifelong Pokemon fan, that means a lot. I've been a League of Legends player for almost 10 years now, so League of Legends TCG is right up my alley. With Riftbound's first set Origins, 12 to 14 champions were introduced, depending on if you include Proving Grounds. And don't get me wrong, that's a lot of playstyles to explore. But with League's roster of over 171 different champions, we're barely scratching the surface of what the game has to offer. That's why I, with my zero game design experience, have taken it upon myself to design the first custom Riftbound champion, Jhin, the Virtuoso. While Jhin isn't my favorite champion in League, that honor goes to Aurelion Sol, and we'll get there eventually. I think his design, story, and thematics are all amazing. No, I'm not here to break down his lore for you, but if you want to learn more, there's an amazing video by Necrit linked down below. But here's the short version. Jhin is a murderer, but he's not driven by rage or hate. He thinks killing is an art form, driven by beauty and passion, setting the stage and creating a perfect composition. Everything he does is precise, and he has become obsessed with the number 4. 4 steps, 4 acts, 4 shots, and 4 victims. When designing Riftbound cards for Jhin, I wanted to really focus on his ability to pick his targets, kill them from afar, and his fascination with the number 4. So starting things off, we have Jin's legend card, Virtuoso. I went with Mind, blue, and Order, yellow, since these domains represent methodical play and perfection, qualities that Jhin would embody. For his ability, you can tap Jhin, letting you mark an enemy unit for death, setting them as your target. Marked units take 1 extra damage from friendly spells on this turn, and whenever a marked unit dies, Jhin resets, so you can do it again. And this won't be the last time we'll be seeing the marked for death mechanic either.
The stage is set.
Every legend in Riftbound has 2 unique champion units, each one tied to its different domains. So I present Jhin Killer. As an action and a cost, you may exhaust Jhin, dealing 2 damage to an enemy unit. This also counts as spell damage, meaning it synergizes with Jin's legend's ability. Also, whenever Jhin kills a unit, he readies again, meaning you can either use his action again or move into a battlefield or back to base. One really cool play, I imagine, is using Jin's ability from base, sniping a unit on your opponent's bench, moving into a battlefield, winning that fight, then moving back to base, all on the same turn. Jin's other champion unit is Jhin Maestro. This version leans a bit more into Jin's obsession with the number 4 and is a nod to his ultimate from League of Legends. The text here can be a bit confusing, so let me break it down for you. Every 4th spell Jin's owner casts, Jhin will deal 4 damage to an enemy unit, as if it were a spell, again benefiting from the legend's ability. This cycle also repeats as long as Jhin is alive. It might be helpful to have a D4 handy when playing Jhin so that you can keep track of which spell interval you're on. I imagine Jhin sitting in the back dealing 4 damage to your opponent's units while your more aggressive units push into the battlefield. This also will make Jhin players think more methodically and precise about when they're using their spells.
Our performance begins.
In Riftbound, every legend also gets a signature spell, usually inspired by one of their in-game abilities. For Jhin, I had several great options, like Curtain Call, Whisper, or Deadly Flourish, but ultimately, I went with his Q, Dancing Grenade. In League, this ability bounces between nearby targets, dealing increased damage if it kills each one, and of course it bounces 4 times. In Riftbound, it would work similarly. You'd select a target and deal 1 damage. If the spell kills that unit, you select another, and the damage increases to 2, letting you repeat cast it again up to 4 total times. Each time you recast the spell, it starts a new chain, giving your opponents chances to react. Dancing Grenade would be a strong removal spell, and would reward planning out your turns to reach those 1, 2, 3, 4 breakpoints. You could even use the first cast on your own unit if your opponent doesn't have any 1-might units.
Let's start the show.
While these 4 cards form a solid Jhin package, I wanted to go further and create a few supporting cards to make a true Jhin-themed deck, and naturally, there are 4 of them.
You will perform.
Starting off, we have Mystic Shot, a 1-cost, 1-damage spell in the Mind domain. Mind needed a cheap, flexible damage spell that Jhin could use to its fullest potential, practically doubling Mystic Shot's damage through his legend ability. It also helps get enemy units into range for Dancing Grenade. And for those of you wondering, yes, this is just Ezreal's Q ability. Next up is Lotus Trap. I've really enjoyed the concept of hidden cards in Riftbound, and with more hidden spells, it becomes harder and harder for opponents to predict what you've been set up. Lotus Trap is a hidden spell that, when revealed, marks a unit for death, using the same mechanic as Jhin's legend ability. With this, Jhin can have multiple units marked at once, allowing for even more resets and more chain kills. Like other hidden spells in Order, it can also be played normally for 2 cost and 1 power.
Fabulous.
Now, on to the new units, the Maker and Big Game Tycoon. Legends of Runeterra fans will recognize these names and arts immediately. So let's start with the Maker, a 4 cost 3 might unit, with the text, whenever a unit is killed by a friendly spell, draw 1. She's a powerful draw engine for Jhin decks, though fragile enough to balance it out. You'd want to keep her safe at your base, only pushing forward when the game allows, and having multiple Makers would stack, allowing you to draw multiple cards for getting spell kills. Lastly, we have Big Game Tycoon. This beefy unit serves as the big finisher for Jhin decks. While on the field, all enemy units take 3 additional damage from your spells. He also has the keyword tank, because, well, look at him. The downside of such a strong effect is that you have to recycle 3 of your runes, and you might not have enough left to capitalize immediately. The ideal play would be to drop Big Game Tycoon, then on your next turn, wipe your opponent's board with spells and push forward with your units to capture battlefields.
Places, everyone, places.
A Jhin deck wouldn't be complete without a proper stage for his performance, so I designed the Showroom, a battlefield that rounds each unit's might down to the nearest odd number. For example, a 3 might unit would stay at 3, while a 4 might unit would drop down to 3. I think this embodies Jhin's philosophy of perfection, forcing cleaner and more even trades, also setting up some 1 might units to die easier to Dancing Grenade. Now I know this goes against Jhin's 4 philosophy, but I wanted to avoid any confusion with 1 might units, would they be rounded down to 0 or stay at 1. I'm really happy with how Jhin turned out. I think he would be pretty balanced in this current metagame with all of his strong answer cards. Let me know how you think he would play out in the meta in the comments down below. Also let me know who I should do next. I had a lot of fun designing Jhin for Riftbound, and I already have ideas swimming in my head for other champions. Let's just hope I can get to them before Riot does.